So then we are back with more understandings from the time of the Second Tabernacle services, where you find the scripture used from the Aramaic English translation of the word. This translation comes from the original manuscript of the prophets of Israel, from the prophets of Yahweh, giving us then the understanding of the time of the end. And we understand we are during the time of the restoration and the reduction of time, namely then Mashiyach the 61st chapter and Mashiyach the 24th chapter. It is very important these days understanding what the Mashiyach said versus the religiosity involved in these days where we are at. There are a lot of people posing as Jewish people or then Hebraic people involved with Takanot and Maasim. It is very important understanding the clearing and the cleaning of the holy laws of Yahweh, and there are many people practicing Takanot and Maasim these days. Myself used to be part of a Messianic congregation before, and it had replete with Takanot and Maasim, where then rabis are using yet those junky laws where the Mashiyach was against it. Washing of the hands and doing other sorts of traditions, those are not from Yahweh. They are not from the scripture, and they are practicing junky traditions, demonic traditions. Some of these people from the religious world of the Jewish people, they practice demonic activity. Some of them are practicing healing of their own, and it is not from Yahweh. Yahweh has given specific directives on how His people should heal the people. They should be in the cities, they should be protected and secluded, and they should be functioned, sensed, and exercised, so then they can minister to the Gentiles as per instructions. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of these people on their own, making their own tiny kingdom. Any other denomination, and they are part of, because though they understand the Shabbat, yet they practice Takanot and Maasim. The Mashiyach came to bust them. The Mashiyach came to clean up the holy laws and set the record straight. Hebraic people, those from Abrahamic background, must be in the holy cities as per the Mashiyach's instructions. He said, go therefore around the world and form holy cities, because the Mashiyach had taken place of his father. And there are many scoundrels from the Jewish line do not obey what the Mashiyach is saying for them to obey. The Mashiyach told them to do. They are involved in junky practices, and the Mashiyach was against them, and he is against them. Anytime there is some sort of a gifting going on in any kind of Jewish tradition or Jewish line, it is demonic. The Mashiyach told them, be protected in the city, because precisely the Mashiyach had taken place of his father, and the authority was given to him in heaven and the earth, and they would be functioning in a certain understanding then for the benefit of the Gentiles. If they are not doing what the Mashiyach told them to do, they are of the devil and they are demonic. So let's set the record straight. When you go into a synagogue and you watch rabbis playing around with the Torah, playing around with the songs, and then washing their hands and eating bread, it's not of Yahweh. It is a plain tradition. The breaking of the bread as per the Mashiyach's remembrance is true, but the way they eat bread after washing their hands, it is ridiculous. It is not from the scripture. So if they think they have some authority, they should shut up and do what the Mashiyach told them to do. Either they do what the Mashiyach told them to do, or they practice divination and then demoniacs. They are demoniacs. Either they are obedient or not obedient. There is no half a term with the Mashiyach. If they want to work for the Mashiyach, they should gather themselves and form holy cities as they told them to do. And there are some of these Jewish people involved with these traditions, and they make themselves extremely important because they are dealing with demons. They are having familiar spirits and then playing with the demons in and out of people. It's not from the Mashiyach. The Mashiyach told them not to play around with the evil in the dark places. They are to be casting out those entities and then return to the holy city. This is how it should be done. And some of these people, they are playing with takanot and masim, washing their tiny hands and trying to find the bowl over there with the water. So after then speaks the junkies, then washing their hands, trying to make themselves important. It is junk, pure junk. Either you do what the Mashiyach told you to do, or you don't do it. Either you mix yourself with what is pagan, or you do what the Mashiyach told you to do. Go therefore around the world and form holy cities. Hebraic people from Abrahamic lineage must do what the Mashiyach told them to do. Go around the world and form holy cities. Practice and then teach them what the Mashiyach has taught them as the living Torah from Moses until the time of the Mashiyach, and prepare the people for the autumn feast. But no, some of the rabis, they want to enjoy their own doings. They like to do a bit of what the people of the Lord did. They like to do a bit of the Mashiyach said to do. And some of them, they have the nerve of teaching the Torah. And then they say, oh, you know those tiny marks that you find in the Torah for embellishment? Oh, the Mashiyach said not even those would go unnoticed until it was completed. You know that's a lie. When you go to a synagogue and you find a rabbi reading the Torah, you find those embellishment tiny marks on the Torah in each character. You know what those are? Invented junk. And they thrive on top of it. All because the Mashiyach was speaking of those tiny marks over there, and not even one of them is going until the whole Torah is completed. It's a lie. It's only for embellishment. It was not in the original manuscript, and the Mashiyach does not speak of junk. Torah code and these codes, all because code, if you read backwards or forwards and so on and so forth, is junk. They are trying to dodge away from the responsibilities of going around the world and form holy cities. They are lazy. Try to understand, they are lazy. They don't want to take on what the Mashiyach told them to do, and they mix themselves with traditions of the world and trying to do their own junkies. Takanot masim. If they don't like it, go with them. This is what the Mashiyach said. If you think you are then not in line with the Mashiyach, the disciples at some point came to him, the Shilishim, and they say, oh, don't you know what you spoke then truly hurt them? And the Mashiyach said, oh, go along with them. Do you want to go with them? Either you do what the Father, Yahweh, said to do, or you don't do it. The people of the law, when the Mashiyach was speaking, they were hurt because they were involved in their own junky laws in Takanot and Maasim, and they tried to be nicey to people, yet they were doing junk. And the Mashiyach said, go join them. So these rabbis are as scoundrels as is the other people, because they do not do what the Mashiyach told them to do. Go around the world and form holy cities. But they want to do their own junkies. Oh, they like to play around with their bowls of water and then their tiny cups with a dual handle, and they like to wash their hands and become important and placing those talit around them and then those special clothing. Those are junk. Without doing what the Mashiyach told them to do in the holy cities, it is junk. So why you waste your time every Shabbat reading then the scripture and doing some of what the Mashiyach said, and then they thrive and they enjoy doing what the people of the law did? Hypocrites, sons of the devil. This is what they are, because the Mashiyach came to clean up the Torah from junk, and they thrive doing precisely the contrary. They are scoundrels, though they have nice intentions. But are they doing what the Mashiyach told them to do? No. They are not doing it. So let's make the record straight. The relationship of set apart and Gentile, they never mix. Set apart was then given the Gentiles ministrations. In order for them to minister to the Gentiles, they must be in a holy city as per the Mashiyach's instructions. And we understand Yohanan was in a perfect holy city, and he has records of what to do. If they refuse to do, don't listen to those rabbis. They are as junk as any other pastor. And if you don't like, join them. This is what the Mashiyach said. You can't take sound doctrine, join them. Mashiyach Shaul said at the end of time, people would not endure sound doctrine. Thus, it is what it is. If you don't like it, join them. Please stay tuned. Much more coming up.